bet almost 120% that they are going to ban Thatcher.
Well, I think you're going to be correct, as Thatcher is the bane of Rainbow Six Siege, especially of late. As mentioned before, he does so much in this lineup, but it's going to be Maverick being taken away by Team Front. The Maverick Thatcher combination has been a big deal pretty much for the last, like, we'll call it 8 months. It makes hard breaching very difficult, but it separates the good teams that are very comfortable with that unique style of attacking lineup. Final deliberations rolling on through. Will it be a Thatcher? Also, Capitao is a phenomenal ban as well. But indeed, we are correct. It's going to be a Thatcher ban.
It's almost kind of goes without saying. Maverick and Thatcher are the two operators that are banned here on Clubhouse 95% of the time. Sometimes it's Capitao, you throw that in the mix depending on how good the teams are, but not so common is a Maestro ban. Usually you see a Bandit Arcade sometimes out here, but with Maverick and Thatcher off the board, Bandit kind of a necessary operator. Who do you think's gonna be this last ban here? You have about a second to say it. Never
I'm
mind.
going to
I
call him
kind of
Mira
spoke
right
through it.
now, but it's a Kaid. I'm
Oh,
Run.
okay.
I'm going to go quit. All right. Well, you were correct. It's going to be the last electrical unit to be removed. And it's probably wise because you could actually throw them in some very cheeky places where it will not be destroyed by vertical pressure explosives or by Cali charges. And that's why one reason I was actually saying Cali should have a larger radius effect that kind of goes through walls like a Thatcher would, because there's certain avenues, one of them being near the drone hole on CCTV. You throw it up high, you grab one side of the CC wall with the Kaid charge, and then in that one shelving unit, you kind of bury the other Kaid charge there, and it's impossible to deal with. You literally cannot deal with it. And hey, if you had a Cali that can shoot through walls, I mean, or EMP through walls or destroy through walls, that would be mitigated altogether. I seem to be going on this rant a lot today.
Yeah, no, Cade is actually a very unique operator here on Clubhouse. And the fact that he's taken off the board actually doesn't surprise me at all. First of all, you can put your Electro Claws up in the rafters, and they're nearly impossible to deal with, considering you almost always have a player up there. So you can deny that entire west wall, and you can't really do anything about those claws there. And then the other ones could be on the shelving units by CC wall, and you just don't opt to take the garage wall. So really powerful. He can deny a lot of utility, so having him off the board here will make it a little bit more common to see this wall open here.
And we're going to have to see how the attackers, again, elect to do it. As you mentioned, it's going to usually be a CCTV take, but it's also very important to open up the southmost garage wall. The reason you open that up is to prevent the rotation of attackers, or pardon me, as defenders as they go through the garage window, as well as through the inevitable rotate that will be created. You can also throw them through the construction side and create a crossfire. But when you have two attackers, your options are, pardon me, two hard breaching attackers, your options are really out there. And one thing that I love that's being brought right now, and an operator that doesn't get enough love, is Capital. He's phenomenal at dealing with a player bandit tricking. As soon as you get rid of that bandit trick, you basically just throw those firebolts there. There's no Womai currently in play, and that bandit trick will be shut down for sure. TPA is going to take a lot of damage off screen. I think he's attempting a run out, but he's going to deterred by those lead bullets going his way.
Yeah, and right now we're going to be seeing a bandit juggle on the wall here as Thermite is just waiting to see if they can take out that bandit. But it's going to be TP eliminated at the bottom of blue stairs. Cupcakes finds Joe as well, so that's a double kill for him, and 2 clutch kills at that. Now making it only up to 3 players up front to hold the rest of sight. As the wall of CC is going to get opened up, it will be a lot more challenging for front to try and capitalize on their flaws. Cupcakes is just above half HP, and that SMG 11 in hand by CME can prove to be a game changer here. It's going to be MT, though, peeking out near the breach, and that is going to be none other than Ghost jumping up here through the garage, now knowing that Valkyrie is located in the risers. He's going to get flashed by one of his teammates, though, and that could prove to be detrimental. It's going to be MT getting the kill onto Confused. And that's the Hibana off the board, and the Valkyrie playing inside of rafters. The Capitao Firebolts are trying to flush her out. Prone peeking the door. He finds one, but immediately refragged by Phoenix. He's going to find another one this second on the round, and it's all up to CME to win the 1v3 situation ahead of him.
It's going to be a difficult win for this Smoke of Seamy. He spots ahead of 2. He's going to shoot his SMG-11 towards their direction, but it's going to land nowhere near. The attackers are going to find themselves in a planning position momentarily, but who needs a plant when extra cupcakes can drop a big 3-round kills and an excellent attacking lineup coming out by our newest member of Tactical Banditry. They knew exactly where the defense was. They utilized their droning information, and they put the defense in awkward gunfights that was almost impossible when every gunfight the attackers set themselves up for was a 1v2 engagement. And I don't care how good of a player you are, you're never going to win a 1v2 engagement. At least you shouldn't. It's a mistake on the team that's putting you in the 1v2 if you end up winning that as a defender.
Yeah, definitely. So it's going to be the attackers taking the first round here on Clubhouse Tactical Banditry, jumping out to an early lead. And hopefully we can see Team Front try and capitalize on their errors here and try and make something different happen. Now, we noticed last night Clubhouse was the map that was also played here, and it was between, oh shoot, I am blanking on the team names that played last night. But they had an interesting rotate in church, and it almost lost them a couple of rounds here, and you're not going to see that from Front right now. They're down 0-0-1, and it looks like they're just going to be doing a standard blue hold here. And I talked about this last night. If you didn't hear me, I'm going to say it again. Basement sight is sometimes way more valuable than the CCTV sight because pushing blue is inherently difficult if you have a shield and the Wamai and the Jaeger. They don't have a Wamai here, so it is a little bit puzzling, but they do have that pulse to try and deny that vertical play. So pushing down here into sight for Tactical Banditry could prove to be a huge challenge, but they left dirt soft, and that could be a fatal error here on the part of Team Front, as it will allow the attackers of Tactical Banditry to basically just walk down into sight. No, the pulse can see him, but that could be a huge error.
I'm perplexed by this strategy by Team Front. Maybe it's just a ploy. And how on earth did that Nitro Cell land? He was standing on a cabinet, but it's not going to matter. Confused is just going to be as discombobulated as I, as he's going to find himself in a nice 6-foot grave. Another Nitro Cell goes ringing out, but that's still on a soft floor, waiting for the attacker of Ghost to push in. Pulse has his position locked, and if a little aggression coming out by Ghost, he may be felled for free. We're just gonna have to wait and see. The suspense continuously mounts as the attackers are constantly droning and giving more information. The top hatch was opened up, though. I'm not sure if those X-Kairos were set up before the Nitro Cell went out. TPA is going to find a big kill off screen, and more attackers continue to fall as we're waiting for this Nitro Cell to go off, but the suspense keeps mounting. Will Ghost push in? He's getting closer to that doorway, and there he goes. He gets obliterated.
Yeah, not a smart play to continue to push Kitchen, especially when they have a pulse on the board. MT gonna find a kill on a cupcake, still up to Lean in a 1v5 situation. He does not have the diffuser in hand. It's gonna be down inside of dirt. Oh, 1v5 situation now for Lean as he's going to be pushing his way through dirt. He has to try and find a way to reclaim the diffuser, checking all of his angles, not opting to use a drone. He doesn't have a lot of intel here. He's gonna push up right into the pre-fire of TP. A flawless round for Team Front, and that is why attacking basement is so difficult, considering that there are Nitro Cells you gotta watch out for, and a pulse. So maybe bring in IQ next time, Banditry, and you can deny that. But I think the big question that a lot of us are asking is, how did that Nitro Cell kill him? Well, recently there were changes to how explosions propagated here in Siege, and it just comes down to how close you are to the explosive, not what you're standing on. So there is that what you call debris. I think it's debris.
Debris. We can always call it debris. Now, Matt, what do we call a strategy like that relies on so many Nitro Cells?
Defenders, protect your bombs.
I don't know, Chief. I think that it's just one of those things where you want to try and deny vertical pressure, and yeah, Nitro Cells are probably one of the best ways to do that, along with shotguns.
Well, Honestly, it would be Nitrocell
Don't say
Bonanza
it.
if you had
Don't-
3 Nitrocells,
No!
but it
Come
can't
on.
be classified as Nitrocell Bonanza because there's only 2 Nitrocells. It's just, as you mentioned, it's just vertical destruction utilizing
Anything
Nitrocells.
more than 1 Nitro Cell is Nitro Cell
No,
Bonanza,
no, it
and
requires
you know
3. We
that.
determined it. We determined it. It requires 3 Nitrocells.
Okay, alright.
But we're going to turn back over to CCTV, a site that Tactical Banditry executed on impeccably. And currently, Wamai is utilizing a new strategy where if you melee that soft barricade right next to Bandit twice, it will shut down the concussive blast of the lifelines on extra cupcakes, and it allows you to vault in for free, which basically is going to mean your Bandit trick will be easier, but you still have to deal with the castle barricade on CCTV. That whole purpose is to shut down the Captal Firebolt, and another new iteration is going to be the Wamai Pancakes. And it's going to be TPA fighting another big kill as Lean is off the board, and those Captal Firebolts will no longer be a factor.
Yeah, Lean right now, not playing his best game, but it's going to be TP on a tear right now. Almost ripping into Cupcakes here. He is only under 25 HP. He has to be careful, but he's going to swing the door. That could prove to be fatal as he is going to get downed in that altercation. Now he's going to drone it out, though, and that's because points are off, so it's going to be very difficult for Cupcakes to know that he even downed him in this sense. So TP is going to be bleeding out on the floor here, giving intel to his teammates. No longer a factor, as Cupcakes will finish him off. Now making it an equal man count here as we head into the minute 45 mark.
Well, as you mentioned, Factor's a pro player, so he's currently not in this game. The bad puns and jokes continue to reign, but it's going to be the hard wall no longer hard, as there's going to be a big breach in there, and wonderful efficiency as there's 90 seconds left in this round. Well, Mai's position is going to be known, but he has perpetual existence of those Wamai pancakes that he's going to continuously get throughout this round. MT's flirting with death as there's a player nearby, but he's going to use the MP7 perfectly. He's confused, is going to find himself off this board. A Nitrocell gets gripped and ripped, and it's just going to be sitting close on this wall, preventing the sledge of Ghost to walk on in. Off screen, extra cupcakes is going to get felled. It's now a 2v1 with Ghost is down but not out as MT picks up that kill. It's going to be an utter shutout as Joe finishes off this round.
Yeah, it just seemed to be to me that the attack of Tactical Banditry just kind of crumbled once they lost Lean. They kind of stopped their momentum. Even after they got the wall open, they weren't able to do anything with that. And that just comes down to how well Front was able to just hold sight. They did not allow the attackers to push into Garage, and they did not allow them to take control outside of that server window. They did just let them get the wall at the end of the day, Front did, but they have to take some sacrifices because the bandit didn't die. It just left him able to flank and kill that Hibana outside of main entrance. Now, I think Hibana was just droning in one of her teammates, so she didn't know that bandit was there, and there was no really sound cue because of the way he dropped. He prone dropped through the hatch, but nonetheless, a good defense from Front, and that momentum certainly is mounting in their favor. I think right now, Banditry and Front, this round is going to determine quite a lot here. If Banditry wins this round, they are going to be looking in a position to start and take that lead. They will start to establish that momentum. They do have that Thermite and Capitao combo here, so they will definitely get that Jacuzzi wall open. Now, on the other hand, Front needs to win this round in order to try and continue to establish that momentum that they have been building on. So it's going to be a very crucial, pivotal point here going into this round to see exactly how the rest of this game will be played out.
The tertiary bomb site is always a unique setup for both teams. As you mentioned, it's really imperative that both of these teams win this round, and that's the beauty of Rainbow Six Siege. You always need to win more rounds, but it's going to be on the attackers to open up both the Jacuzzi wall as well as the CCTV wall. And maybe an ill-advised 6-pick was the fact that Confused brought in Ash instead of the Hibana. To really successfully execute upon this site, you need both hard breachers. You need to open up the cache side, which is actually being left soft So basically, all you need to do is open up the outside CCTV wall, flood a player up through red, or you can do the opposite of that and push in through garage. You still accomplish the same thing. But we're going to also have to get rid of CME, who's hiding here on the red stairs. You can hear the thermite charge going off. I think that was on the garage side. That's going to force CME back. But it's going to be the person stepping up. That's going to be TPA. It's going to be the next line of defense. But he's going to get felled immediately.
Yeah, definitely. CME is holding well on these stairs here. Not trying to expose himself yet, and I don't think his position is known yet by Tactical Banditry and company. So that could prove to be a huge flop. I think he just got droned out, and now, yes, he will retreat. So wasting a lot of time, but Lean's there to pick up the kill. Already mounting on the kill, is confused, finds Invictus, and now it's all up to MT and Joe inside near sight. But Tactical Banditry starting to mount that attack that they have so far established quite a lot of momentum, and rather quickly, I might say. We do have the Mute playing below inside a bar. He does have the shotgun. He's actually going to open up the hatch, though, try and get a little bit more intel and see if these guys are going to plant. Ghost's going to be inside of logistics, and that could prove to be a huge crossfire to establish some kind of control. As Tactical Banditry wastes no time pushing into bedroom. The plant's coming down by Phoenix, and Joe and MT still stuck in place. Joe's going to take some damage from the crossfire of Ghost, but Confused is going to push up and find Joe. His second on the round. The Sledge has... I'm sorry, that's actually going to be MT finding a knife kill onto Confused after downing him with the shotgun. Lean, though, finishing it off with his second kill. MT, as the attackers of Tactical Banditry win that round, bring us back to an even 2-2 score.
A valiant attempt coming out by MT. He picked up 2 big kills and impeccable crosshair placement to finish off Sledge. But again, as we mentioned, when you find yourself in a 1v2, technically that was a 1v5, but in that particular engagement on the door frame, it was a 1v2. You can have the best accuracy in the world. You can put your pinpoint, but if there's some player over there, he's going to have just as good as accuracy as you. And that's why you should never find yourself in a 1v2, or you should always be presenting said 1v2s. But as mentioned, the tertiary bomb site is a very difficult site to win if you're the defensive half. And Tactical Banditry actually accomplished their main goal, and that was winning 2 rounds. And any more rounds they win is just going to be extra icing on Cupcake. Wow, that shot went badly. That was terribly.
You did not just make a pun out of Extra Cupcake's name. You know what he could actually use, though? He could use an extra A, because I think he's missing it in his name.
Oh my lord. This is what happens when they pair us together. It's just bad jokes on my end the whole time.
Yeah, it really is. And I don't even know if it's even bad jokes. They're not even jokes. They're just like... They're almost like laugh grenades. They go out and they explode, but nobody laughs. So it's not even a joke.
Important thing.
If you laugh at your own joke, is it good though?
I think it's good, and that's all that matters.
Okay. Anyway, we're gonna see a basement hold here. CME setting up his deployable shield inside of dirt, as they don't opt to use any reinforcements here. And I think that's kind of been their strategy going into this, as they're just gonna put a player with a deployable shield. With that ADS, it can be quite difficult to push. Confused going to be all the way over here by Strip Club, now droning in, making sure that there are no defenders hiding in there. And I think that's kind of one of those underrated hiding spots. Not a lot of people decide to push from Strip Club on Clubhouse. It's almost a part of the map that's completely overlooked. A lot of teams just don't opt to even play inside of there. So definitely interesting to see a player push from there, and that could prove to be helpful for his team in the long run.
It's going to be a derivative of the SSG style roam, as we see lots of barricades and reinforcements being situated upstairs. But what makes it the derivative is not only the operator lineup, but it's the fact that everybody has retreated back to the basement. This is going to require Tactical Banditry to do their due diligence and drone out the entire map, but all wasting time. And remember, they in theory don't need to drone out the map. We have God vision, so we know that everybody's downstairs, but for every second the attackers drone out, it's a second that their execute's going to be delayed more. We see an M59 getting aggressive here on the new stairs. that's still with the whole idea of wasting time. I believe the attacking lineup is aware that they are the only ones on the first and second floor. They're going to have to expedite this attack if they want to be successful.
Yeah, and I'm surprised that MT brought a pulse again, because last time we saw Banditry push in through Kitchen, it was really the Nitro cells that stopped their push. So knowing that Banditry would adapt to this kind of style, they weren't going to try and take Kitchen as hard as they did the first time. Instead, they're going to opt to use their utility for other places, such as Moto and Blue, and maybe even Dirt. But Confused struggling to try and get anything going at the top of Moto Hatch, because those ADSs are intercepting his flash bangs. We have Cupcakes at the bottom of main stairs. He's just waiting for a moment to push in, but the bullet hole peek from MT will find one, but Cupcakes on the refrag finds Invictus 2, his second on the round with 30 seconds left to play. Joe's got the shotgun trying to barrel stuff inside of Moto, but TPA is going to find the kill onto Lee, now making it even. Man count back 3 feet. 20 seconds left, and the shotgun shot rings out. Cupcakes will fall to Joe, but Confused gets the refrag immediately onto Joe, as now it's CME and TPA versus Confused and Ghost. Ghost is going to make his way inside of Moto, and now TPA going to be spraying through blue wall. The plant's going to be attempted to go down, but Confused is going to find his second onto CME. It's all up to TPA with no time on the clock. Diffuser's going down, and now he will have to be forced to rotate through Arsenal Room. Knowing that his position has been compromised, he will have to retake site. Spraying towards the Diffuser, knows that there is one close. 35 seconds left on the timer as we now enter the post-plant situation. Moving in through the hallway, does not see the head of Ghost, and that will be his first kill of the round. Tactical Banditry get another one.
A brilliant attacking execute coming out by Tactical Banditry, and a round that surely was going in favor of Team Front. Their strategy was working impeccably, designed to do exactly what it was, to waste times. It wasted essentially 2 minutes, and once the attackers were actually able to set up, they set up and executed brilliantly. Absolute brilliance coming out by them. And honestly, if I'm going to be critical of Team Front, I believe they should have actually held bodies upstairs to waste even more time. Because remember, the derivatives of SSG is basically to either waste time or get kills. In this situation, it was to waste time. And if they actually had bodies upstairs trying to get aggressive, I think it would have gone differently, but it's very difficult to tell.
Yeah, I do find it odd that there have been no teams so far that played Clubhouse in comp gameplay that do the Clubhouse hold that In Control Nation does. They play 2 off-site, and they waste so much time with a Vigil Jaeger combo, and I don't remember exactly who plays who, but they do it really well. And if you watch exactly how they play, they waste so much of the attacker's time and utility upstairs. When you know that all of the defenders are playing downstairs, that just makes your roam clear that much easier, and you already saw that from Tactical Banditry. They wasted no time on how Team Front was playing the map. They pushed down main stairs, they attacked the crucial choke points, and they won their gunfights, and it really shows. That's why they're winning 3-2 right here.
And I'm glad you brought that up. To find yourself at a 4-2 split on the defensive half is a big deal, but to find yourself with 3 attacking wins is even a bigger deal. That's something that doesn't happen very often. And when Tactical Banditry actually rotates over to defense, I think we're going to see them win more rounds. And statistically, here's a fun fact for you guys. If you start on attack, you actually have, I think it's about a 7% higher chance of winning. I don't actually know why that statistic is the way it is, but it's always something that has just baffled me throughout the life of competitive Rainbow Six Siege. And the statistic has been there for about 3 years. It's kind of something that's always been in effect.
Yeah, and I think that inherently Siege is a defender-based game. A lot of games try and make the defenders attackers, per se. And it's really just comes down to like a free-for-all. The addition of drones in Rainbow Six Siege is something that kind of makes this game unique, where the attackers actually have the ability to gather intel without wasting their bodies. So, in a sense, it's almost still inherently a defender-based game, and I believe Ubisoft did release a statistic, I believe I saw it on Twitter, where defenders have a 57% more chance to win than the attackers, so it is inherently a defender-based game. That being said, Leon's gonna be taken off the board via MT's MP7 here, as it's going to be Tactical Banditry taking control of construction. MT tacks on another kill, finds Cupcakes though, and now the attack from Tactical Banditry starting to falter. MT taking quite a bit of damage through the Toxic Babe though, now finds himself under 10 HP, minute 10 left, and his location known.
He's going to probably get aggressive there. You can see him prepared on that window to run out, but he's going to meet a Claymore as well as that 5.56 AR on Thermite. As in a different attacking lineup coming out, as it's going to be a construction take. Breaching launchers are going to fly in to alleviate that shield to all help the attackers flood through the south side of the map. TPA is rotated, and he's going to be attempting to find somebody as they present themselves in the top hatch. So far, the attackers seem to be aware that all the defensive barrels are trained on their position. It's almost going to be a miracle coming out by the attackers. An awkward gunfight by Confused. He's going to miss shots. Both players are going to continue to miss shots, but it's going to be Joe credited with that kill in the end. Toxic Babes continue to go out, and the attackers are going to choke in more of those fumes. 3 players on Team Front are sitting at under 25 HP, but here comes the aggressions as MT finds his 3rd kill in the round, and now it's going to be a 4th kill for him as it's a brilliant defensive win.
MT absolutely dominating here on the Bandit. Nobody plays it better in this game so far as him. If we pull up the scoreboard right now, I think he's doing a lot of work for his team. And going into a 3-3 split here, having to take that tie game, basically it's still 0-0. But if you're Tactical Banditry, you're feeling very confident right now, knowing that you have the ability to win out. Yes, you did falter on that last round, but it really just came down to how much utility the attackers put into the backside where you didn't have as much utility. So if you adapt to that strategy, I think you could actually find yourself winning that round down the road. Yeah, so if we look at the scoreboard, it's going to be MT with 12 and 3. Woo! What a stat patter right there.
Wow, I did not expect it to be one-sided on the kill feed, but it's going to be a side switch, and it's going to be Tactical Banditry starting their defender hat. In theory, this just might be an attacker's side in the clubhouse. We have seen it before. It's hyper rare, but it's something that is still possible. And a different strategy that Tactical Banditry will be bringing. They will not have that pulse. And Team Front utilized that pulse so well. It provided information, and it got them kills. It also wasted time, and those are the kind of the trifecta that is Rainbow Six Siege. Also, Tactical Banditry will not be doing extended roam, at least judging by the setup. We might see extra Cupcakes on the top floor for a bit, but currently he's situating himself, I believe, in Kitchen. And yes, using that top-down perspective, he will be in Kitchen, and now he's going to be rotating over to Bar, and maybe that will be his hill to die on.
So I'm almost seeing an identical style of gameplay which we see in Control Nation do, which is that Jaeger and Vigil combo roam. We have the spawn peak from Confused though, but his location is well known as Invictus on the drone sees his absolute location. And TPA wasting absolutely no time, taking control of Garage, trying to flush this Jaeger out on the top floor. But this is what you need to see when you're looking at a effective roam clear right now. And it's going to be how many drones it takes in order to kill the one roamer. And so far, Jaeger is just completely rotating to the other side of the map, giving them complete top floor control. But this top floor clear wastes a ton of time if you're an attacker. And that is exactly the point of this double roam here. And so far, they're doing an incredible job. Confused is really chewing down that clock, and Vigil still nowhere to be seen, so definitely a win so far for Banditry in terms of just purely time.
It's also a win given the fact that 30% of the drone economy has been sacrificed, but Invictus is going to find Confused. The drone hunted him out. They smelt blood, and it's going to be Confused blood all over Logistics Office. good time efficiency, but they're going to have to start their execute right away and start taking that vertical shield, pardon me, vertical shields, those vertical top hatches if they want to be successful. It's going to be an aggressive peek coming down by Central Scares. I believe that's TPA as he QE spams, but no shots actually landing by either party. More vertical destruction comes in, but Lean's going to get that refrag just a little late, but late better than never. They're also going to be doing that impact tricking, and it's going to be successful. Frag grenade prepped, and that's going to be coming down to try to alleviate Rook, but the only thing that's going to happen is Invictus is going to hit himself with his own fragmentation. And once again, Matt has left himself on mute, so we're going to wait for him to figure that out. And he's
Darn
back.
it. Okay, well, I wanted to say sometimes that the frag grenade, when you hit the floor and then, or you have the frag grenade, you hit the floor, sometimes it doesn't destroy the second layer, and it actually backfires. So you gotta be careful. Cupcake's wasting no time taking out CME, taking some damage from his left, though. He has to be careful, though, because there is that pressure established from Dirt. Lean's gonna fall to Joe off camera, and now he's gonna push up, finds Vigil as well as second on the round, and now Phoenix taking quite a lot of damages. He's the last defender alive. The punch hole peak takes out TPA. He's falling all the way back. The prone peak as Joe plants the diffuser in its entirety, and we find ourselves in the post-plant situation as Phoenix only sitting at 10 HP. A single bullet skimming his body could eliminate him, as Invictus and Joe both sit comfortably at about 100 HP. 30 seconds left on the clock. The fuser's planted. Not looking good for Phoenix, as now the crossfire from Joe finds his third on the round. Front wins it out here. Gets the round. Go up 4-3.
Tactical Banditry was in absolute control of this round with 60 seconds left, and things began to crumble, and it all came down to just them losing their gunfights, in all honesty. You should not let attackers flood through dirt like that. We had so many bodies coming up there, and it was just Joe winning his gunfights with a Type 89 at the end of the day. And sometimes when a strategy goes downhill, you just have to rely on your guns. And that's exactly what Team Front did. And they're also going to find themselves in the lead for the first time of this match. Earlier on, we were talking about maybe this is just the attacker side of the clubhouse that never shows its ugly head. Tactical Banditry, on the other hand, though, they're going to elect to return back to basement. And when you repeat a site back to back, that means you've identified where the site failed or why you made those mistakes that ended up losing you the round, and you know how to counter it, and you're going to counter it in this round.
Yeah, absolutely. When you look at exactly how Team Front lost, I'm sorry, excuse me, Tactical Banditry lost that round, you have to look at their setup for the attack from Front. They did not continually hold and waste enough time upstairs and contest enough of the attackers' angles to prove effective. That left 3 people alive in the endgame phase as they kind of just pushed in using their intel, and the defenders, Tactical Banditry, had no idea where they were pushing from. They might have had a rough idea, but more health on the attacker's side, less health on the defender's side from that vertical pressure. You get the point. They did not win that out. So, if you're going to see anything different from Banditry, you might see 5 people on site this time. Or just 1 off-site, which you actually do see, as Bandit is going to be upstairs. That's going to be Ghost.
Yes, it's going to be another off-site roam. It's going to be on the attackers to do their due diligence. Actually, I believe he's back in sight now. It's kind of hard to tell through our overhead where Bandit exactly is, but the attackers have already expedited this attack compared to round number 7. They've established that the first and second floors have been relinquished, and now it's going to come down to how well they can open up the top hatches. Fortunately for the attacking lineup, they are running a Thermite and Habana, which guarantees that they can open up all the hatches as well as Church Wall. But I spoke incorrectly. There is still a player on the first floor, and that's going to be confused. Emerging his head from Strip Club. Will he find a player, though? He's going to be hiding in toilets, and there has been no drone presence over here for at least 30 seconds. So he will not be droned out. So it's going to come down to how well he can win his gunfights with that 416 carbine. He can hear the player sitting very close to him, and there goes the aggression. Joe's going to find himself off the board. He's going to find a peek into dirt, but that's not going to happen as we know that there's nobody over there. But indeed there is. It's going to be an SMG-11 at range as TPA finds 2 big kills, and the defense begins to crumble. It's now a 4v2 with 60 seconds left in the round.
It does seem to be an attacker-sided clubhouse. Lean challenging the angle on TPA. TPA finds a triple kill, his third of the round onto Lean. Ghost stuck inside of dirt. Not looking good for him at all, as now he's just going to sit prone and try and bait the kills. The flashbangs coming out. The grenade thrown in. Flashed completely. CME's planting the diffuser. It's an absolute cluster of madness as TPA moves in, trying to get the 4K. Another flashbang comes out. Ghost is completely blind. TPA gets his 4K, and Front win it out here. 5-3 advantage in Clubhouse.
Team Front threw everything and the kitchen sink at that poor last member of Tactical Banditry. There was no hope in him. He was literally had his back to a wall and just praying that he would try to live. But unfortunate for him, there was 4 trained barrels his way, and honestly, there's no way you ever win that gunfight. It would have been a blunder and a half, to say the least, if somehow Ghost managed to win and out. But they're going to be much wiser this round and go over to CCTV. It's going to be a different strategy and a different ideology altogether when executing here upon CCTV. We're probably going to see something very similar to what Tactical Banditry did back on their attacking half. They're going to have to open up the southmost panel of Garage, at least the top of it, open up the east wall of CCTV, establish your crossfires, and then execute.
Yeah, absolutely. And going back to CCTV is probably one of the smarter plays you can do here. CCTV will allow you to establish that momentum, but they are bringing a Bonda and a Thermite combo, so they are going to be able to open up those crucial hard walls, whether that be inside of construction. The last time we saw a push through construction, I believe it was Tactical Banditry, and the way they pushed construction, it did fail, however, only because they had a lot of utility on that back side, knowing that they would push there. So it's really just going to come down to if they opt to take construction side or if they go for CCTV wall, which will determine how the rest of this push will play out. You aren't going to see a very heavy roam game outside on Gym if you're Tactical Banditry, only because you want to try and win as many gunfights and get an opportunities to win those gunfights. And the way that you do that is you make the attackers come to you. You don't force the engagements, they force you into the engagements, and you don't make those mistakes.
While the attackers are going to slowly gain their real estate acquisition, as it almost looks like it's going to be a construction style take. Flashbangs ring out, but off screen, Confused is going to find MT. And those are going to be your 2 impact grenades as well as your 2 lifelines surrendered for free. That's the best way of dealing with a bandit trick. So Ghost might find himself alive, but there's going to be still frag grenades and flashbangs sent his way. The grenade goes out, the fragmentation is in, and they're going to open only the bottom part of the east wall of CCTV. This is a different strategy coming out by Team Front. Most people like to just use a thermite on it. Off-site, we're going to see on the construction wall continuously get open, and this is going to force the defensive Tactical Banditry deeper into your sight. There's 5 members that look pretty much on site, and that's something you don't want to have because that's going to allow the attackers to execute and establish crossfires.
Yeah, right now it seems that Banditry is sat well between Garage and site respectively. And so far, I don't think Front has been able to get anything going other than get that wall partially open. They weren't able to capitalize on anything, and their main fragger of Zofia is off the board. She kind of caught herself slacking as the Jaeger jumped out of Billiard's window and just kind of was able to catch her by surprise. Did not expect the prepped window. And yeah, that can prove to be detrimental. So Lean's going to be playing here with the ACOG long on the breach as the entire bottom of the wall is shot out. And that's just to try and cut off as many rotates as possible. The Ash charge from below, though, will get rid of that utility, and CME looks to try and take control of construction wall, and he does. Invictus sat at a little bit of HP. The jump in from TPA will find confused as the thermite charge goes off. He sees another one, a double kill as he finds Phoenix now pushing into sight. Knows that there's one inside a garage and cash stairs respectively. He's been lit up quite a lot though, and the SMG-11 in hands by Cupcake with 15 seconds left. The plant's coming down by CME, and now it will be Lean getting the kill on the Joe. A double kill with the Nitro from below. TPA will fall, and he finds the last one. Cupcakes, a 3K to finish off the push by Team Front.
Wow, the push came in and then it was pushed back immediately by Tactical Banditry, and that round was almost uncertain going in favor of Team Front. Team Front has looked impeccable on their attacking lineups. It's almost like you can't stop them, but the only way to stop them is when they just get over aggressive and kind of put too many bodies in one location. And that's one of the dangers of the vertical nitro cells. You have to plant on an elevated surface. If you do not, well, that's exactly what happens. 2 players get killed, and as well, one of those 2 players being the planter. Now imagine if Simi had just better micro positioning, the round would have been completely different. We would have seen players off site, and it just would have gone differently. A Warden being shown in the 6-pick phase, but they're going to elect to bring a Rook. And
Darn.
Rook has seen a lot of presence lately, and it actually comes down to the fact we find ourselves in the utility consumption meta, and in that utility consumption meta, you have to face a ton of frag grenades. And the reason he also has impact grenades too, but his vests prevent you from being killed by a frag grenade. You will only be downed by a frag grenade. And when you're running a dock, in theory, you could just be obliterated instantaneously by that frag grenade and have no, recourse to it. So that's one reason we've actually seen Rook have a big resurgence.
Yeah, I've always found it interesting. A lot of people get mad at a lot of others when you play a Rook instead of a Doc, because Rook is actually very valuable, and he was in the beginning when Siege first came out. His armor plates basically added even more armor to 3-speed operators, and when the game first came out, a lot of people weren't hitting headshots as they were not as well versed with the mechanics of Siege, so it was very difficult to get those headshots precisely. As you got more and more into Siege, you see headshots starting to increase. So that is why Rook was really crucial, and we are going to see MT take out Cupcakes. The roamer of Vigil will now be dead. MT not completely escaping that one unscathed, though. So, yes, Rook is a good pick. Sometimes Doc is preferred, though. But usually, Rook does bring a lot of utility to the team in terms of impact grenades and an ACOG. So, he's definitely an A-tier operator, in my opinion. And I don't think if anybody picks Rook over Doc, they are necessarily doing a bad thing. I apologize for the rant. Felt like I had to say that.
But just to build on your point a little bit more, we now see Echo with those impact grenades, so maybe you don't even need to run, I mean, unless you want to tank out frag grenades. But that's one thing I hate, is that Rook now has, or pardon me, that Echo has frag grenades. He should not have them by any means. But let's dive back into round number 9. The attackers have established a lot of real estate, as well as TPA putting a body in the grave. And again, the attackers are so strong. They just siphon in and grab bodies. They were going to see the head of one, but no, it's going to be ghost killing. MT, surely Crosshairs replaced by MT, but apparently he's just going to lose that gunfight. Lane's going to find TPA off screen, and the man advantage that Team Front just had has been relinquished. Frag grenades go out, do us a little bit of damage, but the Type 89 is going to do more damage as Confuses off the board, but Leon's going to find his second kill in the round and a perfect headshot. 2 living, breathing bodies left as a Nitro Cell is sent out.
The Nitro Cell actually went out, and I believe it took off one of Thermite's charges, but not enough, as he's got a second one in his pocket. Will detonate the wall, but Ghost challenges the angle, does kill one, but the refrag by Lean will take out CME as Ghost was eliminated. The 2v2, as there's the impact grenades. I talked about them. So important. Nice shot to finish it off here. Defenders crawl their way back into this one, and just like that, tie game, 5-5.
We're gonna need all 12 rounds to determine who wins or who ties the last game of week number 2 of Siege Cardinal League. And whoever wins round number 11 will find themselves on match point, and it will be their duty to defend all 3 points, and it will be the duty of the other team to try to grab that one last point. Now we're going to see Jim Bedroom for the first time on Tactical Banditry's defensive half. When Tactical Banditry executed upon this site all so long ago, the last time we saw this site played was round number 4. It was a really good back and forth, but the attackers ended up getting the edge. And that's kind of been the motif of this game, is the attackers winning rounds. And I would like to see more emphasis put on the defense on the side of CCTV. You have to hold this very laterally. And the reason you do that is to burn all the hard breachers. You could, in theory, grab one set of thermite charges and 2 sets of X-Kairos, only leaving one left for the jacuzzi wall that we currently see ghost banditing. So we'll have to see if they end up electing to do so.
Attackers are moving out to locate a bomb.
Absolutely, and when you look at trying to take Gym and Bedroom, one of the key factors is actually getting Jacuzzi Wall. And in order to do that, you have to take control outside of that window, or try and establish some kind of logistics pressure to try and make that Bandit or Cade uncomfortable. In this case, it's going to be Bandit since Cade is banned. So that could play a huge factor, and it does seem that Front has been running the double hard breach and Hibana and Thermite, and that's kind of what you want to do here on a map like Clubhouse, where hard breachers are essential in order to win the round. Ash pinging out one of the castle barricades, not wanting to waste any of her utility to try and get that open. We have Cupcake sitting inside of Cash behind the desk, and Ghost sitting comfortably behind the jacuzzi wall. No spawn peeks or risky plays from either side right here. Knowing it's a 5-5 game, you don't want to do anything stupid and ruin your team's chance of success here. The hold inside of CCTV seems strong, though, and it doesn't look like the attackers of Team Front will be trying to contest that. Burning out the ADS is going to be TPA and MT in company on the invert repel. It's actually going to be a sledge trying to push into Jim Bedroom. Gonna detonate that castle barricade, and those bandit wires are off the wall, but Joe's gonna get a kill off screen, and that's going to be the Vigil down inside of server. That wall jacuzzi is going to get opened up. Minute 30 left. 5-4 man advantage Front.
It's going to be on the attackers to execute this pincher maneuver perfectly. Felix is in a terrible position. He's sitting behind that gym equipment, but he's still going to win the gunfight. The UMP rings out, and TPA, with one of the best guns in game, is going to get punished by that. A gunfight he should not have lost. One of your best fraggers are now off the board, but this is still a winnable round for everybody. We're going to see the toilets wall, pardon me, the bathroom wall get opened right now, and that means any defenders that had the potential of hiding there will no longer have that avenue. Extra Cupcake's going to find a big kill, though. It's going to be Joe off the board. He's going to find a second headshot in a row. MT is down and out for the count. Only 2 attackers left. This is going to be a big hill to climb on, especially when there's 4 barrels trade in your direction. This is going to be a very linear push west to east to try to captivate the site of Jim.
Yeah, definitely. And if you're Front right here, you're going to try and play off of each other here. 2v4 situation is not one you want to be put in right here, and they know that there are multiple crossfires established. So what's going to happen is one of these players is going to push in, sacrifice himself, and give away his position. CME is actually going to try and get the plant off inside of Jim. The flank from the hallway, though, is going to push up. A double kill as Phoenix finds his second onto CME, and Cupcakes finishes Invictus off. The round goes to Tactical Banditry. 2v4s don't always work out in your favor, and thus is the case for this round. We go to a 6-5 in Banditry. Guarantee themselves a point here. Let's see if Front can tie it up.
The tertiary bomb site worked out well for Tactical Banditry, but they're going to have to return to CCTV, a site that they've only played once and have won once, which is kind of leading in favor of Tactical Banditry to receive all 3 points. That's kind of on the fact that Front had a very linear attack. I didn't personally like the way it was unique, it was different, but maybe something a little bit more traditional, maybe something a little bit more versed would have been better. But at the end of the day, changing things up is the name of the game. Now, one thing that Tactical Banditry has been relying on a lot is proximity alarms. And Matt, I'd actually like to get your opinion on proximity alarms, because honestly, I think they're far too inconsistent. They have a very monotone sound, and it's almost impossible to determine the direction in which the sound's coming from. I'd much rather run barbed wire, because I can guarantee where the barbed wire is from, and also if you place it in a different area, you have no idea where that beep's coming from.
I think you're right, but at the end of the day, sound in Siege has never been super consistent across the board, and that just comes down to how the game is structured, where there's all these tiny drone holes and punch holes where sound propagates through. So you have to look at it with a grain of salt and use, I think proximity mines are actually well balanced in my opinion. You do get 2 of them, and yes, they are semi-inconsistent, but they give you more of an idea of how the attackers are pushing. Now, I do prefer barbed wire over a proximity mine, though, and for 2 reasons. One, it takes 2 hits to get rid of barbed wire, and it covers a larger area that attackers can push through. Proximity mines can be put in positions that are difficult to get rid of, but they only take a singular bullet or a twitch drone or an EMP to get rid of them. So, I think they're well balanced, but you're right, they are quite inconsistent, but so is barbed wire in the sense of sound and Siege is not necessarily the easiest to figure out.
And at the end of the day, who wants to listen to an angry toaster beep at you?
Oh.
But it's going to be an awkward gunfight between 2 members. MT's going to take a lot of damage. He's going to rush in with the pistol, with the sprint challenge, with ill-advised. It's confused, gets a confusing kill, but he's just going to turn his back to the 5.56. It's going to be Simi getting a big kill, and only his 2nd kill in 12 rounds, but he's going to step up when his team needs it. It's now a 4-4-man advantage with 60 seconds burned. The carnage continues as TPA finds a kill. That's going to be Ghost getting stuck in a bad rotate, and things are starting to go in favor of Team Front. Maybe this is exactly what they needed. Will all 3 points be seized by Tactical Banditry, or will it be 1-1 point? 90 seconds to find out. Here we go.
Yeah, 3 members of Banditry are alive, now making it a 3v3 as Joe gets a brilliant shot from on... Actually, who was that? No, Joe will fall to lean on the peak, so it will now be a 3v3. Excuse me, I was looking at the wrong person. Minute 12 left here, and it looks like construction wall will be opened up by CME. Uncontested, and he is alone on that side of the map. Sledge is kind of off in logistics, trying to do his own thing and drone in his teammate, and he will do so. Doesn't seem that TPA has been a factor so far as he's outside of the breach, just kind of holding. There's the crossfire from Lean, though, inside a garage, and that will be the Ash charge going in, but intercepted by the ADS. And now spraying towards the deployable shield. There are no members behind it, though. A brilliant peek from Cupcakes will find Invictus. He'll find CME too. The SMG-11 can't be stopped. It's all up to TPA to try and make something happen here, or will Banditry walk away with all 7 points? 25 seconds left to find out. He only has 75 HP. Peeking through Hibana's breach holes here. He will not be able to do much. Meleeing the barricade by the bottom of Secret, as all the 3 members of Tactical Banditry are alive. The C4 is detonated, though, and TPA wasting no time spraying up the main stairs, pre-firing, but extra Cupcakes finds the 3rd kill. TPA will fall, and Tactical Banditry get all 3 points here, win it out on Clubhouse. Outstanding game, and definitely came down to the wire.
Only 26 bullets left in the R4C, and sadly, none of those 26 found their target, as that new elite skin, not a new elite skin, but that new Pro League set by Mute is shown, and that's a 16 bomb coming out by Extra Cupcakes. And now that we actually saw a victor in this round, we will be seeing a interview. We're gonna have to wait for that to happen. But a brilliant game by both of these teams. It could have been either one of them winning it out. But at the end of the day, Tactical Banditry just started to play their defenses better. They started off very slow on defense, but they started to figure out why they were making mistakes. And that's what separates good teams. The moment that you realize, hey, I've made a mistake, how do you counter the mistake? And how do you, build upon it and learn from it? That's the most important thing, and TB did that perfect.
Absolutely, and when you look at a game that came down to a wire just like this, it really came down to the attackers winning all of their rounds. And when you look at all of the facts, it really just came down to how well attackers executed. It really was an attacker-sided game in that sense, and when you can pull it off on defense, it just feels that much better. I think we're waiting for an interview. It will be Phoenix joining soon, and we'll get to hear what his team has to say about the latest win. But Chief, what do you think about that match and how it played out?
And again, it seemed like both of these teams started off very slow, but let's hear it from the horse's mouth as Phoenix is now in the waiting for interview channel. Let's see what he thought about week number 2. And welcome to the party, Phoenix. Congrats on your win and a really close back-to-back 7-5 for you in week number 1 and week number 2.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So how did having 2 back-to-back 7-5s, does that make you nervous throughout the game? Because you guys played brilliantly in the latter halves.
No, not at all. We're a pretty consistent team. We know how to get back on track. Because in the earlier rounds we were struggling for sure, but just we've been playing together for so long, we know how to get things back on track.
So if I may ask, how do you do that? Because a lot of, there's a lot of new IGLs, a lot of coaches out there that try to orchestrate their teams to do that, but that's one of the most valued skills here in competitive Rainbow Six Siege, actually competitive in general.
So I think it really depends on, this is my thoughts here, I think it really depends on the teams and the individual players, but in my experience, the best thing you can really do is just keep the comms going, because a lot of times if you're kind of down points and you get discouraged, comms stop, and then you just get into a cycle.
Well said, my friend. Matt, any questions?
Yeah, I do have a couple of words to say. When you guys first started out the game, it seemed that Team Front really had established quite a lot of momentum, and you guys were able to make those last-second adjustments and change your gameplay style. What was one of the main things that you guys kind of noticed when it came down to losing that momentum?
Well, I just gotta give credit to our IGL Confused. He is very good at picking up that sort of thing. I personally don't even realize that, so I gotta give credit to him.
Yeah, absolutely.
Well, Matt, I have no further questions. Felix, anything to say to your supporters?
Yeah, thanks everyone for supporting us. I mean, there's a couple people who know who they are. We're very thankful to them. Wouldn't be able to do this without them. So, and great game. GG's.
Cheers. Well, it's been a brilliant time talking to you. Hopefully we see you in future play weeks.
All right, thank you very much.
Cheers. And ladies and gentlemen, that will conclude our match of Tactical Banditry versus Team Front. And it was a brilliant nail biter to the very end. But that's also going to conclude week number 2.
Absolutely, and that's a great way to finish it out on. Absolute nail biter when it comes down to it. 2 teams that are both equally skilled. Coming down here on Clubhouse, one of the more popular maps in the map pool. So absolutely a really great match and a pleasure to cast along with you, Chief.
It always is, my friend. But until week number 3, stay safe, stay well, and we'll be back with more phenomenal Rainbow Six Siege.